Hey guys, welcome to DIY Projects Live. I'm your host Devon, and this week we are going to talk about how to make your own DIY pantry. Hey y'all, I'm Devon, and I love DIY. I used to be a professional dancer and aerialist in Vegas and on cruise lines, but I've recently been promoted to being a proud mama and a creative coach. I'm producing DIY Projects Live each and every week to bring you the best tutorials, guests, crafts to cash instruction, and creative content. So grab your iced coffee and let's get started. Welcome to DIY Projects Live. We're doing part 2 of our pantry today. Last week on DIY Projects, I went over part 1 of our pantry series. So here is our crazy, messy, original pantry for you. And we are about to hop into how to build a dream pantry that you would see on Pinterest. So let me know in the comments if you cleaned out your pantry last week and how it went. All right, so here we are in the pantry today. I want to tell you a little bit about an overview of the 10 steps we took to build this custom pantry for you. So I'm going to show you step by step in just a moment, but I kind of wanted to point out a few things before we get started so you have a kind of idea of what went into going through this. That's my son, Striker. So yeah, if you have a baby, let me know. Put a picture in the comments. Okay, so over here, we have 6 shelves that we did, and we kind of cheated, you guys. This looks like butcher block, am I right? Like type 1 if you think it's butcher block. It's not. We actually took a thicker trim piece here, and we put it right here, so it looks like it's a nice thick thing, but if you put your hand under here, it's very hollow. Okay, so this is faux butcher block, if you will. All the other trim pieces are a little bit smaller to give it that effect, so that's something else you can do here. Yeah, you definitely want to have trim and finishing work to make everything look completely done. We have not nailed this in yet. We're going to do that tonight because one piece is still drying with the stain, but we got a little trim piece for the back here to kind of cover up any weird caulking lines, stain lines, and paint lines. So I've learned a lot about covering up mistakes this week. We've learned that the walls are a little bit crooked in our house, which is probably something you're going to come across. And yeah, and we also, we brought this down a little bit, so that made our measurements a little bit different than we originally thought. So stuffing something in here is going to be a little bit trickier because you're going to have to kind of like slide it under if it's taller. But we did measure our tallest item, which is our turkey fryer for Thanksgiving, and it does on the side fit into this place right here. So before you get started, you want to measure the tallest thing that you want to be able to store in your pantry and make sure that your shelves are high enough for that. I'm going to be putting all of the supplies and the dimensions if you have an L-shaped pantry like we do, so you can kind of copy this design if you enjoy it. And yeah, so with that said, I'm going to show you one more thing. It's my favorite part. It's the chandelier. We have a freaking chandelier in our pantry. Oh wait, here's my hubby. Do you want to come jump in and say hi? He says no. He's still in his PJs for his Zoom meetings, but it's fine. So he was a huge part of this. He taught me how to use a saw. He taught me how to use a nail gun. And it's not something to be afraid of. If you are like me and you've never done it before, it was terrifying. It's really not. You just need someone that's knowledgeable to show you how to do it, show you the safety, and just trust yourself. Because if I can do this, you can do this. So here we go. Step 1 of your DIY pantry is to solidify your design. If you have an L-shaped pantry and want to kind of follow what we did 6 shelves. We have quite high ceilings, we're lucky for that. And we also did our faux butcher block center piece that I showed you just a moment ago using the longer trim in front to kind of fake you out. So important to make your list before you do the purchasing and shopping, and you're going to need a lot of wood. Here specifically is our supply list, including the nail gun. Trim pieces, base and support pieces made out of 2x4s. We did plywood sheets for the shelves with a nice, we didn't go completely expensive for this. We were about halfway in the middle expense-wise, but if you do go with a cheaper plywood, you're going to have to do a lot more sanding. You're going to need a 16 gauge nail gun. You're going to get some paint and stain for the shelves, and not sure if you have any of these supplies, but check your toolkit first before you purchase anything more. My favorite part is shopping. So we loaded up on breakfast, iced coffee, our baby, headed to Home Depot, and there I am dancing through the aisles. We wanted to make sure that we gave you guys a DIY project that's affordable as well, and you can do this even cheaper if you rent a nail gun, borrow a nail gun. That was probably the biggest cost here for us. We did a 16 gauge nail gun as well because you can use that universally on many projects. It's not like you're building a whole roof. You don't need it specifically for anything like that. So 16 gauge is where you're at for that. You want to make sure you know what kind of stain you're looking for if you're doing the countertop. We did white paint for the rest of our shelves to match the white in our house that we already had a little bit left over and save some money there as well. Other pro tips I learned from our shopping trip is look for the straightest piece of wood you can find in the pile. It'll save you a lot of trifle later. And finally, if you do not have a gigantic truck, we recommend getting your wood cut at the store. Right then and there, they can do it for you, cut it up. You don't want to try to be traveling with a giant piece of plywood coming out of your car. Now, once you're finished shopping, you're going to go home and you're going to do the most important thing, measuring and cutting. So we had our major pieces cut at the store, which were all 6 layers of shelves and our countertop. And then we just measured the smaller pieces and cut them ourselves at the home. So that's our trim pieces, our base, supports, things like that. So you always want to make sure you have 2 points of reference when you're measuring. And yeah, measure twice, cut once. Hopefully you don't want to go back to the store a billion times like we did. And then always make sure do all your safety goggles, gloves, everything when you're sawing at home. There you have it. To begin the project, you're going to build the base on the floor. So we used the 2x4s here. You're going to measure the length of your room, and then you're going to do the width being the width of the shelves that you want, obviously, because you're going to want to make sure everything is stacked up nice and perfectly. Here you are going to use a screwdriver and a nail gun to make sure everything is secure to the walls. The next step is to start building up. You are going to add the plywood on top and secure it in with the nail gun again, and then start adding your dividers and just start building your way up. In fact, that's our next step. Okay, so we're at the point where we built up to the countertop, and so we're starting to think about the other shelves. So we want to make sure we have our supports in place, and that's what we're going to screw into the wall now and anchor down, because you know how heavy how heavy pantry shelves can get. So we're going to make sure they're extra supported with these supports underneath. Right. We're just doing a video of the progress.
Well, let me get out of the way.
I don't know, it's perfect. You have his little stowaway. Hey, Meal Meals. You like that cupboard?
Is he in there?
Yeah. Part, you want to take out your wood filler and you're going to fill in any and all holes that you made during the process, especially with that nail gun. So now it's going to start to come together once you start to add the paint. So here's our before, just all the wood, the natural wood, and then after we added white, it starts to really light up the room. Of course, we weren't done at the top there. I went outside to paint some of the trim pieces and then bring them back inside. It's a little easier. Last but not least, so I'm just doing a nice neutral stain on our butcher block. We were so excited to get to this point. We have our little helper there. So this is where we're putting our final molding, and we are putting the caulking in the little cracks to fill in any mistakes this is the fun part. Everything just starts to look perfect. We also spray our caulking with just like a little bit of soap and water, and we use gloves and just kind of spread it in the cracks so it's nice and smooth. All right. So we had a little Milton that wanted to hop in the shot for the little send-off here. This is Milton. We also call him Poo-Poos, Milty Poo-Poos. Oh, Buddy's coming in too. You're meeting my whole fur family here. We have 3 rescue pups. If Cappy, you want to join? Yeah, you can come in. Oh, he's getting a little camera shy, but Milton's not here. So anyway, I hope that my Facebook Live today helped you a little bit get some inspiration. I hope you are doing a pantry yourself. Please tell me in the comments, post it in the group. Let me know if you create your own pantry, what you end up with. If you keep your shelves but just reorganize, I want to see what you're doing because it might inspire me. Next week, we are doing the final portion of our DIY Dream Pantry, which is going to be the fun part for me. It's going to be the home decor and organizational section. So the next time you see me in here, it's going to be full of all of our stuff. Oh, Cappy did come in to say hi. Hi. He's our little Dudley lab. Does anyone else have a Dudley lab? Let me know. Or a Chihuahua. Rescue pups, I want to see them in the comments, please. Yeah, so what were we talking about? Okay. Yeah, so next week is going to be organization. So if you're watching this, hopefully you're getting inspired. Hopefully you go back to week 1 if you haven't seen it yet. We talk about how to even just start, where you can, get started cleaning out that pantry. You can do this. I want to see all of your progress in the group. Please post everything. And now I want you to do one more thing for me, pretty please. I am still getting started with all of this, so I really appreciate your support. If you could go to next week's event and RSVP right now in the Facebook group. So it's going to be next week, every Thursday, 1 p.m. I make an event for it, for all the Facebook Lives. And then if you can also text me, I swear to God it's me, it's not a bot. I will actually text you back to prove it. So text Facebook Live to that number in the details and I will get back to you there. And then, yeah, anything else? If you want to see a specific project, let me know. Send me a DM. Tell me about it. I want to give you guys the best content that you want. I also am going to be starting Facebook Lives on Mondays with actual members. I'm going to be interviewing you guys, showing off what you know how to do best and like inspiring everyone else. So if that's something you're interested in and you want to be a part of that, you want to be interviewed, you want to be featured, let me know. Send me a message privately on Facebook or send me a text. So that said, Milton and I are signing off. We will see you next week, every Thursday, 1 p.m. Vegas time, Pacific Standard Time. And we will see you next week. Have a good one. Next week on DIY Projects Live, we show you how we went from this pantry situation to this well-organized pantry, and you can have one too.